Your Honor, before the court is Kaden Chase Barefoot. This is indicted in 2015, C50261-N. That charges him with a total of 8 counts. Do you wait formal reading?
We do.
Your Honor, he is charged, I'll just say for the record, count 1 is malice murder, count 2 is felony murder, count 3 is aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, count 4 is felony murder, count 5 is criminal attempt to commit armed robbery, count 6 is possession of firearm during commission of a felony, count 7 is theft by receiving stolen property that is a firearm, and count 8 is possession of hydrocodone. He has, with the assistance of his counsel, Mr. Bushway, entered a written plea of not guilty.
All right, Mr. Barefoot is in custody, right?
He is a custody judge. This case is assigned to you, and the state's going to make every effort to get this case ready for trial, and hopefully have it ready for your next trial term, if not, certainly the one after that.
So he has in fact entered the plea of not guilty, and we know where to serve him, and so that's all we need to do there. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Can you talk about the facts of the case and give his side of the story?
Well, not at this time. I think that'll be forthcoming later. We haven't gotten, I don't have a copy of the state's case file. They'll be providing that to me very shortly. We'll have access to it. So, you know, I want a chance to look at that, and obviously to talk to my client and go forward from there. A not guilty plea means he's going to contest the charges. As you know, and the state has the burden of proof of proving beyond a reasonable doubt, which is the highest burden under the law in the state of Georgia, that he is guilty of each and every one of these crimes. So it's their burden to prove that he's done what they're accused him of doing. Difficult for him, as you can imagine. People see trials on television and they think, well, I kind of understand what that's about. Most people never really stop and think what it would be like to be indicted for murder. And murder means, under Georgia law, for a typical adult, that he's going to go off to the penitentiary if convicted for 30 years before he's eligible for parole. 30 years. That would break a lot of people, just that, much less having to stand trial and go through that entire process. It's difficult for anybody. And you can imagine being 13 years old and looking at those sorts of circumstances. We recognize this is a difficult case for everybody involved. Both the victim and my client were teenagers. And Kaden's family recognizes this is difficult for both sides. It's a tragedy. This is just an absolute tragedy that a young man was shot and killed. And it's very difficult for the young man who's accused of doing this. The stakes can't be any higher. His liberty and his life are at stake in the sense that he's looking at significant time in prison if he's convicted of these charges.